Well, I am here with an incredibly talented artist with also just even a greater story, Wande.
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
Hey, so as I always ask, where you from?
So I was actually born in Nigeria, and then we immigrated to the United States, and I ended up growing up in Texas, and then I ended up in Atlanta.
Wow. Okay, so from Nigeria to Texas to Atlanta. So let's talk about that a little bit. How did growing up and having that background of a whole other continent and culture impact your upbringing?
Yeah, it definitely made me appreciate just the ability to know that there's different cultures out in the world. I think it gave me an expanded worldview
Hmm.
where I didn't just see life like, oh, it has to be this way is right. I think it gave me a global perspective and just another way of appreciating like how the Lord made different types of people and
Yeah.
like, he loves everybody in the world, not just America.
Right.
And I think also, yeah, it was just a lot of fun because like my parents, like they speak Yoruba to me at home, a whole
Uh,
different language. We eat Nigerian food, but then I was able to go to school and like speak English, eat hot dogs. A great day. So
yes.
I think it was a lot of fun growing up. I think I'm able to relate to a lot more people,
Mhm.
but I think I definitely enjoyed just having multiple cultures in my life.
That's really cool. Something that we have in common. My name is Rasool, which is
Mhm.
Arabic, and it's reflective of the fact that my parents were Muslim
Mhm.
when I was born, when they had me.
Mhm.
You also have had some religious diversity in your background. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so growing up, like basically like 99% of my family is Muslim. And yeah, it was really interesting growing up because it was definitely tension once I finally got like saved and gave my life to Jesus for real, for real.
Mhm.
Whenever I got saved, I was in middle school actually, and I had gone to a summer camp. And yeah, I just understood the gospel. I was super excited. I was like, yes, Jesus, like, yeah. And I just definitely wanted to like share my faith with other people, especially like my parents. And so I came back home to tell my dad, and I was like, yes, like, you need to learn about Jesus. He changed my life. Like, all these joyous things about who he is. And then my dad, like, I was definitely met with tension,
Mm,
controversy immediately. And he
mm,
was like, no, this is bad.
mm,
Like, he was like, they're brainwashing you. Like, I'm not letting you go to church anymore. This is too much. And he was like, I let you go to church with your mom because I want you to be a good person, but this is too much. And so it was like he liked the moral value of
right.
Christian faith, but he didn't like the actual transformational part,
Mm,
which is the whole point.
yeah.
And so yeah, that's whenever I saw like, oh, religion wasn't just like like something you just say like as a conversation topic, like, oh, what are you? Oh yeah, I'm Christian, yeah.
Right.
But I saw like, oh, it's like an actual like real life changing moment, and I also saw how powerful it was that it
Mm,
could create a division
mm,
in moments like that. And so from that point on, I essentially had to my life kind of changed essentially. So like I wasn't allowed to go to church for like about a month. And then what ended up happening, because I was still passionate about my faith, like I used to have to wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, read my Bible in secrecy. Then
mm,
eventually it evolved with my mom helping me out because she was a nurse. So she can only work every other weekend.
mhm,
But my mom defended me. So on the weekends that she was off, like she would bring me to church and be like, oh, I don't care. Like she's going with me. And then the weekends that she was working,
mhm,
I would wake up like at 5 in the morning, go to work with her at the hospital, and then one of my uncles who happened to end up giving his life to Jesus as well, he like would bring me to church with his family, and
mm.
so then that's how I would go to church and get to know more about God and just learn because I just was really intrigued. Like I was a baby and I wanted to grow in my faith, so I definitely needed that phase in my life that was really important to like be in the Word and be surrounded by people who love the Lord, and so that was definitely a very pivotal part of my life and my journey, just beginning faith.
Man, that sounds really intense
Mhm.
and kind of interesting and dynamic at home. And how was it that your mom? Because I think you told me earlier that
Mhm.
she also had an interesting faith experience that
Yeah.
also kind of maybe was different from the family that she grew up around.
Yeah, so yeah, still even back home, like generationally, like a lot of my family was Muslim as well. And my mom actually grew up in a village in Nigeria. And so in the village, like if you wanted to have a better life
Mm,
beyond the village, like you had to go to school. And the only school option that was available was this boarding school. And it was a boarding school that was owned by Christians.
mhm,
And so my grandma was like, oh, I mean, I guess like you can go to the boarding school, like whatever, like because there was the only option if you wanted a better life. my grandma didn't plan on. My mom ended up getting saved and giving her life to Jesus.
Wow.
But that's what happened.
And the other interesting thing there is that you were saying you were getting up at 5 a.m. to read the Bible when you were, what, how old?
Probably like 13, 14, yeah.
I mean, when I was that age, I can't imagine getting up for 5 a.m. to do anything. So, where do you think that came from? Like, where was that drive? What was the drive for you to say, this is worth it for me to get up that early?
I think it's like realizing that like this is real. Like, I think if you really believe Jesus is who he says he is and you really believe the gospel, then like you have to live like it. And so if you're not living like it, then you're almost saying like you don't actually believe it. Like, and so like Jesus, like he really believed it, so he was willing to die for it. And so like that was him saying like, I truly believe that this is serious. And so I think me just understanding like if someone's willing to die for me, the least I can do is wake up in the morning and read the Bible. And I think it was so fascinating seeing like why was Jesus so passionate about this? Like why was like just even that, it's like I need to know God more. I need to know this love more. Someone who could love me that in depthly, like I want to know. So I think that was also just like the passion and the drive behind me wanting to wake up more and get to know God more and like be like, man, I need to be knowledgeable so I can even tell people and speak about it in a way that's decently educated as well.
No, that's great. And that's another thing about your story that I'm hearing is like this pursuit that you were on, seeing that this was worth it. And one of the things that pursuit led to was a specific internet search that kind of changed your life and trajectory. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's actually funny because it's like my pre-saved story. So shout out to like my teachers and stuff. So I had some really great teachers growing up who like planted seeds of me like wanting to know more about God and like being like, okay, like, I think God is cool. So it kind of started like a curiosity in me at a young age to be like, okay, like, let me get my life together. Let me start out with my music. I can't be listening to this reckless music if I want to like know more about God. So I started looking up like Christian rappers, like, or Christian remix to whatever popular song. And it actually led to me finding Lecrae on the internet. And then I was like, whoa, like it opened my eyes to a whole new world. And I was like, this is crazy.
And remember I think, what song it was?
Yeah, it was a song called Praying for You that Lecrae has. And so that song is really cool. Like it's like a whole juxtaposition. He's like praying for himself. But I think it was definitely fire. And like I learned about the whole like 116 click and everybody. And then ironically that same summer, like this is a few months before the summer. So I find out that they're performing at a summer camp that my church goes to. But I was never allowed to go to that summer camp because like my dad, like once again, he wanted me to go to church to be a good person, not to be saved. So like the summer camp was too much for him. So I ended up convincing my parents because they have an internship. And so I didn't use the word church camp, I used the word internship. And so you could be an intern at the summer camp. And so I was like, hey dad, like this is an internship. I think it'd be really good for like, my academics. Nigerians love that. So Nigerians are really intense about education.
You finessed them.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then I go to the camp. I'm kind of mainly more concerned about the whole like Lecrae thing at the time. I'm like, oh, I just want to meet Lecrae and all of them. Like this would be so fun. And then who knows, plot twist, I end up getting like saved for real, and not just like Christian on the surface. And like my whole life changes because of that camp, ironically. So it's like
interesting.
Full circle, yeah.
Yeah, that is to actually now be working in the same label that you had touched your life so significantly. And talking about music, like let's kind of go there again. Like when did music become an important part of your life and how did that manifest itself?
Yeah, I think music has always been an important part of my life, but maybe not necessarily hip hop. But from a young age, like me and my siblings, like we would go up in the morning and like watch music videos like while we were cleaning the house and stuff like that. And then in middle school, like all of us played instrumental. That actually has helped like now, like because I understand like how to produce and stuff like that. So like usually I direct like my producers like, hey, you should probably do this and all that. So yeah, that's like kind of like the beginning genesis of my music.
And how old were you when you were studying flute and music?
So middle school, like 12.
Okay.
So 12 to like maybe 16 I played like halfway through high school. And then that kind of led me to where in high school, that's when I discovered I could rap unconventionally.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So you're in middle school now, this spiritual journey has launched. And then this musical awakening has happened, but there's still some cultural expectations. So you talked about growing up in Nigerian in an immigrant household. what are some of the expectations that would be for what you might pursue career-wise?
Yeah, so definitely like Nigerians, they want you to either be like a doctor, a lawyer, or engineer.
Right.
I actually was down with the cause. I was down with the plan. Like me and my cousins, like we were like when we were 5, we're like, yeah, we're gonna be surgeons and like we're gonna be millionaires. And so yeah, I was like, okay, 200K a year, but I can like do this, this, and this, and this. So that was like our plan. I was on that path. I joined this program in high school called the Health Science Academy, which allows you to be a nurse aide in high school and like actually take care of patients. And
Wow.
so I was like legitimately doing all that. And so in that path, during a biology class, like my whole life shifted where I had a biology project where the teacher was like, hey, if you don't want to do like an essay or a presentation, I'll let you do a rap about.
And she just put this out to the entire class.
Randomly. Yeah. Wow. About cellular transport. And
about what?
Cellular transport.
What is never mind, just continue. I don't know what that is, but
yeah, it was about cellular transport. I talked about how cells are surrounded by membranes, all that stuff, but in rap form. And my friends were like, wait, this is actually really good. This could probably change our life. And
they said that.
Yeah.
It was that side.
Yeah, they were like, wait, you could actually like be a rapper for real, for real.
Do you remember any of the bars?
I do.
Can you?
I said, all cells are surrounded by a membrane. The structure up inside it that can drive you kind of insane. With a name like lipid bilayer, I know it's kind of crazy, right? But when you understand how it's composed, it can be pretty tight.
Yo, bars for the science.
Yeah,
Gotcha. And you still remember that?
For education.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you performed it, could you feel like, wait, this was more than just an assignment?
Yeah, I think I could. I think it was something definitely outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And it made me feel like weird, like, oh, like who do I think I am, like being a rapper? But I think I definitely enjoyed it and it was like a lot of fun. And I just started noticing how powerful it was. Like people would like stare like intently and like be super hyper focused while I was rapping. And I was like, yo, this is kind of weird. Because like I was just kind of like the educational person in school or like student body, like student council type of things. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I saw how powerful it was, then I was like, oh, perfect. Like I'm going to just tell you about Jesus through rapping because apparently I got your attention now. And that's how the genesis of my rap story began.
Wow. Okay. So you do this song. Now, you're in high school. Mm-hmm. Have you now abandoned all medical ambitions or was there still a tug happening?
Yeah, I definitely went through like a battle, I would say, throughout like my high school career because definitely there was a lot of pressure to do the whole doctor thing and like just like an internal struggle where it's like, oh, I don't want to disappoint my parents. Right. Like just because even if you say it like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a rapper, like it just sounds impossible. But like obviously with God, all things are possible. So the Lord definitely just told me like, nah, this is what I designed you to do. It's what I need you to do. And I was like, oh God, like you make me feel uncomfortable. But one thing I learned is like whenever you're walking with the Lord, like he's gonna call you to do uncomfortable things sometimes. And so he showed me a dream one day and I was at a youth camp and there was a girl rapping. And then like, yeah, she was doing a great job, phenomenal job. And I have a friend who turns to me, like we're in the audience watching this girl rap. And she was like, yeah, this is like life-changing. Like, this is amazing. I've never seen anything like this. And then like the lights shut down and it's like a spotlight on me. And then the Lord was like, oh, I was supposed to use you to do this, but you didn't listen to me. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And then, yeah, I wake up though. And like, it felt like everything like kind of like left me. Like it almost felt like the Lord like departed from me. And I was like, I'm so sorry, God. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna listen. Wow. I was like, please give me one more chance. Yeah, and so after that, like I took it very seriously. I was like, oh, God's like, hey, I'm gonna do this with or without you. So get with the plan. I think that's also a lesson within itself. Like the Lord has plans and he's allowing us to be a part of it. It's not about you, like it's about his plans. And so, yeah, the Lord was like, people need to get saved. If you're not with it, then I'm gonna find someone who's with it. And that's what helped me take it very seriously and be like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I still was like still kind of scared. So I didn't explicitly tell my parents I was gonna be a rapper. I just kind of let my actions show. I'd be like, hey, I have a talent show, pull up. Or hey, I'm rapping at church, come. And then one day I was like, hey, I have a contract. So yeah.
You just kind of gradually okay. But you still did go to college though.
Yeah.
And so early on, what was the plan in the beginning of your freshman year or whatever?
Yeah, so one thing also about my life, again, like the Lord used very unconventional plans, but I learned to like walk by faith, not by sight. So the Lord told me like, hey, I want you to major in communications. So I majored in journalism and PR. And so To a lot of people, it just didn't make any sense. They were like, you were studying biology, like, why are you doing that? Even my teachers were like, oh, you're gonna throw away your future, like,
Mm.
you have so many scholarships, like, just do this. And like, I was like, hey man, this is what God told me to do. Even my parents were like, hey, it's not too late, you can still switch back to biology, like, you gonna graduate on time, like,
Mm.
it's cool. So I did that. I studied broadcast journalism and PR, and it's actually really cool because God used that, because through that there was like crazy hyper specific scholarships every single year that I didn't plan for, that like helped me pay for my whole entire education. Like, it'd be like, here's a scholarship to travel out of state for someone pursuing a career in hip hop. It was like this doesn't make any sense. Like, why does this exist?
Wow.
And so yeah, and it'd be random donors who were like, yeah, I donated to the school specifically this much thousand. It has to only be for someone who's doing this.
Wow.
And like, so it was crazy. Like, the Lord definitely just had his hand on my life, and like, I couldn't have got that scholarship if I wasn't doing journalism.
So, but in your mind, because I'm hearing you had this, you were doing well in biology, making rap songs that people were excited about, that was breaking down cellular transport.
Yeah.
So you knew what you were doing. So what was it about communications and journalism at that point that said, this is the next step?
Yeah, definitely one, just this is what God told me to do. So that was like the main thing. And then two, like, I was able to see too, like, even if I wasn't in the forefront, I could be in the background and like have comfort in that. So like, even if I wasn't actively rapping, because I still didn't know to what capacity God told me to rap, I could also still just like do things like film, or help promote other rappers, through PR.
Okay, so it was connected to this vision about rap and being a part of that music space.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, even if the vision isn't supposed to be me being up front, this degree and this kind of focus on mass communications, journalism, is going to at least allow me to be in the mix of it.
Yeah.
I see. Got it. So this was really, and now would you say that for you, as you had that dream, that rap was like a calling?
Yeah, I think definitely, for sure. Like, I think I did not plan this for my particular life. I would have never thought of this. So I would definitely say, like, I'm literally doing this because God told me to be here, and like, he's opened like all the doors necessary for me to do what I needed to do.
How do you get from this degree and this major to being at Reach?
Yeah, so part of those hyper specific scholarships, so Reach had an internship program out of state. And yeah, so ironically it said don't apply if you're a rapper, but I just kind of ignored that part, and I was like, just apply. And by God's grace, I got accepted, and it was in the marketing department, which helped with my degree choice, being able to be plugged into that. And yeah, that I had a hyper specific scholarship that paid for me to live down here and relocate down here.
Wow.
Yeah, and paid for me to like live and survive while I was doing the internship. And so yeah, that's how I ended up down here in Atlanta, interning. I thought in my head, oh, perfect, this is the moment God designed, I'll get signed as an intern.
Right.
Didn't happen. I went back to Texas, finished my senior year, got on staff. I was like, this is the moment. Didn't happen.
Okay, but wait. Because all right, so you see the fine print that says rappers need not apply.
Yeah.
You kind of casually ignore that.
Yeah.
So then when you get here, did they know that you were a rapper?
So it was like a weird thing. Like, some people knew, but some people didn't know. And so I just kind of describe it as like the Lord allowed their eyes to be blinded until the time arrived. But I like also didn't want to be pushy and like annoying.
So that was an allusion to like Jesus, like the disciples on the road to Emmaus, where they were like, they're talking to him, and they're like, and then he reveals himself. Hey, look,
it's like,
look, it's Wande. I'm a rapper. Okay.
So yeah, like, so some people knew, some people didn't. I just kind of wanted it to be a natural progression. Like, hey, I'm good at my job, so you can't fire me. I'm good at my job, man. So I just did my job. But then it was like, naturally, you're going to be friends with your coworkers. They're going to look at my social media and find out I'm a rapper.
Was that hard to like be here, be close, and doing all this service for other artists?
Yeah.
Knowing that like your dream is
no, yeah, it definitely was a test of my mental health. Like, definitely, like, I almost like quit at one point. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I had a plan. Like, I had an exit plan. Like, after 1 year, if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna leave respectfully, because I was just like, this is not good for my mental health. But
did you have like assignments that would kind of grate you the wrong way or make you be like, dag, I have to do this for somebody else?
I had an assignment once where I had to find a female rapper for us to like, it was crazy. I was like, Jesus, do you see me? Like, I'm confused. Like,
Wait, your assignment was to find a qualified female rapper that
yeah,
Reach could
man.
possibly sign.
Yeah, man. So I
Oh, that
literally
must have
like
been hard.
it was definitely a refinement process. Shout out to like my fiance. He helped me a lot through that process. Like, it's okay, like God's with you. But it definitely was a process where like the Lord showed me, like he was really refining my character. He showed me like, hey, me blessing someone else has nothing to do with your story.
Wow.
So I definitely learned how to like root for other people, because that's a really big thing where the industry loves to put women against each other. So I think the Lord definitely taught me in that season, like, hey, if he's calling somebody else right now to do something, that's great. Like, and he can bless them just like he can bless you. And so I was like, okay, maybe he's gonna sign that person gonna help me out. I don't know. So yeah, so that definitely was an interesting period of time, but I was like, I'm gonna be faithful.
So you do a summer internship, nothing happens, you don't broadcast, hey, I'm a rapper, because that would have violated the expectation. And how long did that go on before there was?
It felt like forever, but it was a 6-month process before, the moment of, actualization and fruition. So
okay, so tell me about that moment of fruition, because they played a little trick on you.
Yeah, it definitely was a surprise. So part of my job, helping artists and stuff like that. So they were like, oh yeah, we have like a meeting for RG. We're gonna do like a year planning to plan out his catalog, plan out what we want to do, what's the best plan of action to make sure we meet his goals for his release schedule. And he had literally just done one the day before for Fuse. So like, I'm thinking this is real.
Yep.
So we do one for RG, and we're like, okay, like they're like, hey man, RG's kind of late. And I'm like, yeah, man. But it's kind of typical, artists are late, like it's a normal thing. So we're like, okay, let's just wait. So they start playing my song on the speaker. And like, it was a normal thing at that time, actually, where like they would play my music, but it was like a joke. And so it was like a weird joke where it's like, this is funny, but also it's not funny, because like, are y'all gonna sign me or not? But they would like always dance and be like, oh yeah, this song is lit, man. So it was like almost like a company like fun thing, but not like a, okay, like sign me thing. And so it was like, oh, haha, you're playing my song on the speaker. And we have a conference room that's actually right next to like the exit door. So it's glass, so you can see inside who's in there. And so while I'm sitting there with my supervisor and he's playing the music, the exec team was like walking out, and this is like around lunchtime. And then they see us in there and they hear the song, and then they walk in there and they all start dancing too, and they're like, hey, hey, hey. And I'm like, this is funny. And so I think they're gonna leave like after like 10 seconds of laughter. And then they end up sitting down, actually. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. Like, everybody's surrounding me. And then they stop the music, and then they turn on the television and put like a PowerPoint in my face. And they're like, I was like, okay, this is getting weird. And they were like, yeah, this is not a meeting for RG. This is a meeting about you. And I was like, what? And then they were like,
wow.
Yeah. And so they were like, yeah, we've been watching your character for the past couple months, and we feel like you embody exactly what we're looking for our next artist. And so we want to like offer you like a contract and stuff. And I was like, is this real life? And so, but it was beautiful. Like it was, and that was like the moment whenever I got like offered my contract and started this new season of life.
That's amazing. And the thing that stands out to me is, in addition to just that being a somewhat cruel but also somewhat funny kind of joke. I mean, like you said, like you're sitting there, they're jamming to your songs, but there's still been no conversation at all about signing you. But the fact that beyond all that, and once they revealed what the plan was, they said, we have seen your character. Mm-hmm. What did that mean for you, that was not just like, hey, we saw your skill and we think you're dope. Like, yeah, that is a given. Mm-hmm. But there's something deeper that we have noticed and observed that causes us to want to invest in you.
Yeah, I think it was beautiful. And I think it just kind of spoke to just trusting the plan. I think the Lord is showing me like, hey, like all things work together for the good of those who love him, bro. Like, no cap. It's not a lie. I think I definitely was really grateful that I was able to experience just like what it means to like live it to the end of a testimony. So like, you'll never understand what it's like to see the Lord come through if you don't trust him to come through. So I was like, wow, this is beautiful. Like, now it's another way I can even just proclaim about what the Lord has done, bro. And like, oh, it's true. Like, if you just have faith and believe, like he's gonna come through. It's true, y'all. So I think that was what I was thinking in my head, like, yo, this is crazy. Like, dreams do come true. I'm like, this is crazy.
The first and foremost arc of your story is about a person falling in love with God, following him and trusting him, not knowing where that's going to go. And regardless of what obstacles or hurdles or cultural expectations, family expectations might be in your way. And that's just universal.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another layer of the story as it relates to you about what made that moment in that conference room at Reach Records, the kind of premier Christian hip hop or, just faith oriented music space.
Mm-hmm.
And that is your Reach's first woman artist that has been signed. Tell us a little bit about that aspect of your journey from the beginning, and what was it like to have that vision and that dream in a context that maybe there wasn't a whole lot of you that you could look up to?
Yeah, I think it's definitely just beautiful. Like, hey, shout out God, being able to like live it out. I think in my particular life, the Lord has blessed me with like people who respect me, and I've been able to be placed in leadership positions since like I was a child.
Yeah.
So I think it didn't seem unattainable, I guess, per se. I was like, oh yeah, this is achievable. Cause like even like in high school, like I was student council president. So like I feel like the Lord put me in places to where I could see like, oh, just cause I'm a woman, don't let that feel like you're disqualified or something. So I think for me, like it's just been beautiful being able to do it, and that, that the Lord has trusted me to like usher in this new wave and set the foundation for even more people to come in the future. But I think it's been a lot of fun, and like it's been cool because like we're learning together. Like the Reach, it's like, oh, we never had to worry about this. Or even like there's a lot of shows now where I'm at the point where I'm headlining now, and it's like, oh, like we never had to think about a dressing room, like because guys don't have to put on makeup and get ready for the shows, like they already wearing their clothes. And so just different things like that, where even the churches I'm going to are learning new things, or even like stuff like that. So I think it's been a lot of fun on this journey. I enjoy it, and we bring a new energy to the culture, but it's been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, and tell me about that, because I mean, in addition to just being an incredibly talented MC, like male, female, you're just dope, right? But there is this aspect. I would ask it this way: what has hip hop missed by not highlighting and platforming female artists more?
Yeah, I think they miss like just the perspective that comes from being a woman. Like there's different ways we approach things that maybe men won't. Then there's also of like, oh, we need to talk about this perspective. What about the women who are being holy and living their life and minding their business? So why don't you just teach also the men like, hey, like have self-control, like different things like that. Just different narratives in that perspective. I think also women need to hear a message, because like Reach has done a great job of like teaching men how to man up, but then it's like, okay, who's talking to the women, teaching them how to like be godly women coming from a woman, because it's hard for a man to teach a woman how to be a woman.
Right.
So I think just even that type of perspective, like who's the voice for these women, this next generation coming up as well.
Yeah, and I mean, and I obviously in broader hip hop spaces, this is probably almost like the golden age of women rappers in terms of in the culture. And yet like just tell me about like what's been your perspective, your observations, the good, the bad, and the ugly of that reality.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful that we have so many women out. Like it actually is a lot now. It's crazy, like, and they're kind of dominating, they're kind of running the game. I think the only bad part is like a lot of women, they find their validation like in the world, like they find their validation in their body, and they're like, oh, like they're doing it from what they think is a good standpoint, but they don't realize like it's actually flawed. So like they think like, oh, because men want to like sexualize me, I'm just gonna reclaim that and be over sexual. But then it's like you're just further causing the problem of like, now we're just going deeper and deeper into sin and deeper into being provocative. But they think it's coming from a standpoint of like, oh, if you hurt me, I'm just gonna like be overly like this so you can't hurt me. But it's like it's not fixing the wound.
Right.
And so I think that's the flaw that comes with a lot of female rappers, because that's where they find their source of identity. Where it's just where we come in, where we're like, no, like we find our identity in Christ, and like we realize like I'm more than just my body, who I am. And then even with my body, I want to honor the Lord with my body. So like I don't want to be out here reckless and bragging on like different things I'll do sexually with other people, versus like I want to brag on like my Lord and how far he's taking me, and like how good he is in my life, to where all those other things are irrelevant and stuff like that. And so I think that's the only unfortunate part, because there's so many talented women out here. And so I think it'll be beautiful to see more artists get saved and like be able to bring that energy to their music as well. Like, hey, as for me and my album, we're gonna praise the Lord. So I think it'll be beautiful to see like maybe even us with Reach as we continue to grow, like see if we can infiltrate culture as well and
Yeah.
continue to be unashamed whenever we
Yeah.
get in those spaces and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
you want to be on my album, man.
Yeah, that's
Go
so
for
good
that.
because you see, I'm old enough to remember the first wave of female rappers like Queen Latifah, MC Light,
Mm-hmm.
Bahamadia, Lauryn Hill,
Mm-hmm.
who were just stood flat-footed on the microphone without the extra. You've seen one lane that
Mhm.
people go in. What does the lane look like for you to be like, I'm not just going to say, I'm going to take ownership of my sexuality by exposing that and that being my image.
Mhm.
What's your counter to that, or like what is your vision for
Yeah.
what you want to the story you want to tell on
Yeah,
stage?
I think the biggest thing is like my identity is found in Christ. So with that, like he's writing a new story. So honestly, I don't even know what the future holds. It's
Mm.
beyond what I can comprehend or imagine. The Bible even talks about that. So
Yeah.
like even right now, it's beyond what I could even thought of. So
Wow.
the future, who knows, man?
Yeah.
But I think, for instance, like I'm just really excited to know that, like, you know, God is going to take things further than I anticipated. He already has.
Mm.
Like, I've had some explicitly Christian songs that have been on ESPN, or like Michelle Obama has appreciated.
Well, that was about to say, like, because
Yeah.
they call you the first lady of Reach. Like,
Yeah.
literally, you're the first lady of Reach. How have you seen the perspective that you bring influence even the culture or some of the decisions here at Reach?
Yeah, I think I'm a very ambitious person. So, and I love quality things, man. So I think in terms of the video world,
Yep.
I've been able to bring some new things to that world. I love dancing as well. So I brought choreography to videos and been able to, you know, incorporate dancers who want to honor the Lord through dancing, like into my videos. I brought like different color schemes and just fun vibes to the videos. I think, hey man, if we're gonna do video production, let's honor the Lord that way too and do high quality.
Yeah,
so.
that song, Don't Worry About It,
Mhm.
that you brought all of the creative elements to it. Another thing that you shared with me earlier was kind of the story behind Live Forever. That song came together and you kind of adding some advocacy for a woman's perspective in the rollout. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've been able to bring a new sight of just, I think men think they know what women want, but they don't know unless you ask an actual woman. So I think a lot of times in the past, like men were like, "Oh, women inclusion perfect. We'll have like a woman song and we'll put it on."
Just put all these different women.
We'll
on
put all
one
the girls
song.
on that one song. And it's like, how about you add us on your songs? Why don't you just treat us like an equal? And so I think a lot of them never like mentally processed that, like, oh yeah, I can put you on my song. So I think it's been cool with songs like Live Forever, for instance, where we just all are able to be on one song and it turns out well, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you bring your melodic, you know, singing element, and you kind of bring your bars.
Hey, man, we do what we need to do.
So it's amazing to kind of see this journey play out, which has been this kind of like this synthesis, this confluence of all these aspects of who you are, your culture, your faith, you know, your sense of self, even your academic experiences. And now I want to talk about the music because Exit album that just came out, phenomenal.
Thanks,
right?
Appreciate it.
And there's some aspects of it where you get really personal and kind of tell your story. Specifically, tell us about Wakande.
Oh, yeah. So
Not Wakanda. Wande, get it? That's so tell us about that.
So Wakande was a lot of fun. I have Yoruba in there. So,
yes.
That was cool. I got to sample my voice. And I'm saying actually in Yoruba, like the translation is, the Lord has seen me, so let's rejoice and let's dance. And so, yeah, I'm like, hey man, dance for real. Like the Lord has took us a long way. So I really love that song because it's just it's a reflection of that in the energy. And then I just talk about, like, you know, how far the Lord has taken me. And I talk about stereotypes that, you know, people have on me, but it don't matter because I'm still praising the Lord. So we still gonna keep going. And so it's a really fun song.
Yes. And I mean, I was listening to this and I'm like, I don't know how many hip hop songs have Yoruba hooks. Do you know of it?
I don't know of it.
I mean, I think you're kind of a trailblazer in that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, was that like meaningful to you just to kind of be able to say, this is who I am too?
Yeah, I think it's really beautiful. And I think it just kind of creates an effortless vibe whenever you're able to just live out who you are, and it makes the music that much more personal when it's like, yeah, it's just really me being myself.
Yeah. So, well, for those that didn't get a chance to hear it, because you did it on Wakande and No Further, where you also put that in there. Could you give us a little bit of either of those that you want to do, so we can hear the hook and then you could break down what it means?
Yeah, I said, Oluwati rimi oya jofumi, oya pakrumo, oya jekalo. So Oluwati rimi means the Lord has seen me. Then oya jofumi means come on, let's dance, let's rejoice. Oya pakrumo means like come on, like do it for real, don't play about it. And then oya jekalo means let's go, let's get it.
And I love that, because that's just like that.
It's just like an ad lib. Like,
yes. That's just the Nigerian ad lib that just goes in there.
Yeah.
So when people listen to your music, when they watch your videos, what do you want them to take away from that, and want them to know about who you are?
One of my big things that I'm like pushing right now is a brand called Win Within, and just I want people to take away, like, if you're not winning within, if the Lord and you are not cool, like all this stuff is irrelevant. All this exterior things like doesn't mean anything if you're not winning within. Even going deeper into like your mental health, like if you're not okay as a human, like all this extra stuff is irrelevant. And then just also like with your relationships with people, like with your internal family, like if you're cool outside and like cool at church, and then you come home and you're like a horrible person, all of this is irrelevant. So the biggest thing I want to take away is like making sure that you're winning within, make sure you're winning like with your relationship with Christ, and like that you're prioritizing that before all the external things. And whenever you look at that, and that's your definition of success, you'll always end up winning in the end.
That's beautiful. And thank you for being an example of that, winning from within. I think the thing that I could tell, impress, reach, and just me and getting to know you is the fact that mentality you had to be here as an intern and serve, and literally, and you did that job. You looked for female rappers to suggest for them.
Got you some options, man.
While you were actually waiting in the wings, trusting God though, and not just saying, y'all, you're blind, I'm right here, but just to be like, oh, and that aspect comes from a place of a real confidence with God, And how did you get that?
I mean, just trusting the Lord. I think the more you trust him, the more he'll never fail, and the more confidence you'll have. Like, he didn't fail me before, so why would he fail me now?
Yeah. Well, Wande, thank you for winning within.
No problem.